الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Sunday after Maghrib we talk about the beautiful names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today's name is the name of Allah Azza wa Jal, Al-Ghani. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named himself Al-Ghani. And why do we talk about the names and attributes of Allah? To come closer to Allah, to know how to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to ask Him, how to speak to Him, how to beg Him when we need anything, how to talk to Him. So He said, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَدُعُوهُ بِهَا. He has the beautiful names and attributes. So use these names and attributes to ask Him, to beg Him, to supplicate Him, and so on. And His name, Al-Ghani, shows us how weak we are. يبين لنا ضعفنا ويبين لنا قيمتنا ووزننا الحقيقي. It shows us the real weight of the human beings. When you know that the one you worship is called Al-Ghani, so you'll never be shy to ask Him, because His storage will never be empty. And whatever He gives to you, it will never be empty. And since He gave the first beings till the day of judgment, He's given and given and given. His storage will never be empty. When you know this reality, you come closer to Him, you ask Him, you never be shy. Why not? He's Al-Ghani. He is not in need of me. He is not in need of anyone. He is self-sufficient. The self-sufficient is Al-Ghani subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Ghani, so our ibadah, if we think that our ibadah is going to increase in His kingdom, in His dominion, we're wrong. Why? Because this ibadah is for us, just to survive in the day of judgment, to get the rewards, to get al-hasanat, to get the protection. But for His kingdom, we do nothing. We increase nothing. But He subhanahu wa ta'ala gives everything, as He named Himself Al-Ghani. You find Al-Ghani in Al-Quran coming with another name like Al-Hamid, the praiseworthy, the self-sufficient. Al-Ghaniyu Al-Hamid, the self-sufficient and the praiseworthy. So if He is Al-Ghani, so He gives. And He gives بغير حساب, without accounting. That you talk today so and so, you drank today so and so, you ate today so and so, you spent today so and so, and then at night He gives you the receipt. He doesn't do that. He's Al-Hamid. As long as He gives, the one who is the praiseworthy, who deserves the praise by the tongue, by the body, the organs, by the heart, that you're satisfied with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows upon us. And that is why He said in Surah Fatir, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind. That's called not for the believers only, it's for everyone. He calls everyone, believers and unbelievers. He says, Antumul fuqara'u ila Allah. You the true poor people who are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You always need Allah. You always need the favors of Allah, the blessings of Allah. You can't live without His blessings. Antumul fuqara'u ila Allah. Whatever you have of money, of wealth, of properties, and authority, kingship, rulership, whatever you have, at the end you're still in need of Allah. And I always give this example. The example of a scholar. One day, he sought the advice from the king, who sought the advice from the scholar. And the king asked them, give me advice. So the scholar said to him, your sip of water, if you need it, how much can you pay to get that sip of water to drink? Your need of water. So it's very simple, sip of water that you can order anybody to buy for you, to bring it for you. The most beautiful water, the most pure water in the world. You can bring it, but you can bring it, but can you drink it? You are a king now. You control everything. You control, for example, the most powerful country in the world. Can you drink that sip of water if Allah does not allow you? He says no. He said, how much can you pay if you want to drink it? He said, half of my kingdom. I will pay half of my kingdom to drink it. So he said, okay, if it's in your stomach and now you want to relieve yourself, you want to take it out, and you can't do it for a reason or Another, you can't do it. You can't go to the restroom. You try, but you can't do it. And it's, it's hurting you. It's very painful. And it cuts your stomach. Subhanallah. Sip of water. He said, how much can you pay to get this out? He said, the other half of my kingdom. So a whole kingdom just went because of a sip of water and for the sake of taking this sip of water out of my body. How poor we are. We're nothing. If I think about something, and I like it, and I find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests me in that thing. Wallahi. If you read something and you like what you read, you'll find yourself tested in what you read. If you like your voice, if I like my voice, one day I make mistakes in the reading. If I read a book and I said, MashaAllah, I studied so and so today, so in the next day I'm tested in that. The idea of seeking anything that you always show the weakness and humbleness. When you come to that thing that you seek it. And that's why Prophet ﷺ, he learned from Allah to say, Rabbi zidni ilma. And he's the most knowledgeable of Allah. And when Musa ﷺ was asked by a person, is there anybody more knowledgeable than you in this earth? According to his knowledge, he knows that none is more knowledgeable than him. And he said no. And he didn't say, Insha'Allah or something like this. So when he did that, Allah sent to him. He said, no, Abduna Khadr, our servant Khadr, he has a knowledge in a matter, in a field more than you. And when he did not, add the knowledge to Allah, when he didn't say Allahu A'lam, it's not a sin. He didn't know that because he was ulil azm min ar-rusul, chosen, one of the chosen prophets. The prominent prophets, the 5 ulil azm min ar-rusul, Ibrahim wa Musa wa Isa wa Nuh wa Nabiyuna Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. So he knows his rank in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why he said no, and Allah taught him a lesson. And he went to Al-Khadr, and you can go to Surah Al-Kahf. You read the story of Al-Khadr and Musa alayhi salam, and how Musa learned from Al-Khadr. And Al-Khadr says to him, Musa, my knowledge and your knowledge and the knowledge of all people and human being, just like that bird that came with its, wing, and it touched the water. When it touched the water with its wing, it took drops of water from the sea or an ocean. Your knowledge, my knowledge of all beings are these drops of water in the knowledge of Allah. In the sea of the knowledge of Allah. That's nothing. So anything you add it to Allah. لولا فضل الله لكنت كذا وكذا. Without the favor of Allah, I would be lost. I would be misguided. I wouldn't be here. So many Muslims, they are Muslims and they're not praying. And they not eat al-haram. Their kids, they come here and the parents outside, they eat pork and their kids come here, they learn the deen. Do you believe so? I have something like this in our community. So there are many Muslims, they do al-haram. And alhamdulillah, you're in the masjid, praying in jama'ah, and doing your dhikr, and reading the Quran, sitting in a circle of knowledge. That's a great favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taking easy rewards. Who guided you to come here? Allah. Who guided me to say these words? Allah. Who guided us to that place? Allah. Who guided those places who established this beautiful masjid long time ago? Subhanallah. Everybody prays in this masjid is in their skills of their rewards. في ميزان حسناتهم. Because they established it from the very beginning. Even if they fight after that. It doesn't matter. They started something. So who did that is Allah. That's why there is a great hadith in Sahih Muslim. Hadith Abi Dharr radiyallahu anhu. النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قال فيما يرويه عن رب العزة. It's a divine hadith. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا عبادي إني حرمت الظلم على نفسي وجعلته بينكم محرما. O my servants, I prohibited all kinds of oppression that I commit. And I made it prohibited amongst you. No one is allowed to oppress, to practice any kinds of injustice. And then he said, Ya ibadi, kullukum dallun illa man hadaytu. All of you are misguided, except for those who are guided by me, that whom I guided them. So originally, إن الإنسان لفي إيه؟ لفي خسر. Originally, normally, the man is in loss. The man is seduced. The man is lost. And man means man and woman. Okay? Means man and woman. Every person is in lost except for those who believe and they do the righteous deeds and they enjoin one another with the truth and one another with the patience. Who guided them to do so? Allah. كلكم ضال إلا من هديته. بالعربي كده مش بشطارتك انت جيت المسجد. ليس ذكاء منك ولا حرصا منك أنك جئت إلى المسجد. إنما هي هداية وفضل من الله عز وجل. It is completely guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you brought you here, and that is why you humble yourself, you come in salah in humbleness, you speak with people in humbleness, you make dua in humbleness, and you say Ya muqallib al-qulub thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Ya Allah, you change the hearts, so make my heart steadfast on your religion. I'm faqir, I'm poor, and I need you. Ya Allah, I'm in need of you. And you're self-sufficient. You give anyone anything you want and you wish. So give me hidayah. And that's why he said in the hadith, كُلُّكُمْ ضَالٌ إِلَّا مَنْ هَدَيْتُ. Except for those who are guided by me. فَاسْتَهْدُونِ أَهْدِكُمْ. Seek my guidance, I give you the guidance. If you seek the guidance of Allah, you get the guidance. We poor, we get the guidance from Al-Ghani, the self-sufficient, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, يَا عِبَادِ كُلُّكُمْ عَارٍ إِلَّا مَنْ كَسَوْتُ فَاسْتَكْسُونِ أَكْسُكُمْ. Your garment, that beautiful one, that gives you the warmth during the winter, that covers your awrah, that gives you the beauty to go to a wedding, to go to a job, to walk, to come to the masjid, to love it. All of this garment that covers your body is from Allah. Basically and originally we're naked, except for the one who gets the cover and the clothes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So seek this cover from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a blessing from Allah to have it. Our brothers and sisters around the world, they might not have it. Our brothers in Gaza, they don't have it. They don't have food, they don't have clothes, they don't have water. They don't have anything, any supplies of life. This we don't say it to be proud of that, but we say that to remember the blessing of Allah. So you thank Allah and you ask Allah the help for your brothers and sisters and the support for them, because He's the only one who gives them. So you follow the necessary tools just to help them and support them and so on. فَاسْتَكْسُونِ أَكْسُكُمْ. Seek this cover from me, I give it to you. يَا عِبَادِ كُلُّكُمْ عَارٍ إِلَّا مَنْ كَسَوْتُ فَاسْتَكْسُونِ أَكْسُكُمْ. يَا عِبَادِ كُلُّكُمْ جَائِعٌ إِلَّا مَنْ أَطْعَمْتُ فَاسْتَطْعِمُونِ أُطْعِمُكُمْ. كُلُّكُمْ. Originally, you're unable to feed yourself as that king. As we said, if Allah does not allow you to have that piece of bread in your mouth and you chew it and you have it and that your stomach digest it, or that process of eating and everything that happens in your stomach, if Allah does not allow, it's not going to happen. Some people, they only take their food throughout the vitamins, the injections, liquid medications to continue with life. And they just have it this way. And Allah blessed you with this food. You can eat it, you can taste it, you can have it, you can relieve yourself. It's a great blessing from Allah. Who gave it to you? Al-Ghani, the self-sufficient. So it's not me, who worked for like 90 hours a week. He's working 2 jobs and I got them. I did it. That's my goal and I did it. Only I did it. Not Allah. No. Subhanallah. Sulaiman alayhi salam, لما أمر أو طلب من الجن أن يحضروا له عرش بلقيس، قال عفريت من الجن أنا أتيك به، وقال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب أنا أتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك، فلما رآه مستقرا عنده قال هذا من فضل ربي. When that jinn said, or the one who had the knowledge of the book that Allah gave to him, he said, I will bring it to you in a blink of an eye. When you close your eye, you open it, you find the kingdom of that lady in front of you. Allahu Akbar. One who has this kingdom, What do you think? What do you expect to do? They have bombs. They have, these things that they kill the Muslims with material things that it comes from a different country, it travels for them, and then they kill their children, they kill women, they kill men, and they kill everyone. And it takes time to move there. What if they have this great power? What do you think would they do? Subhanallah, great dhulm, great oppression. Sulaiman did what? He said, هذا من فضل ربي. That's a favor from Allah. He's testing me. That's the real faith. I'm poor. When that jinn did it for me, it doesn't mean that I'm amazing. I'm a strong king. No, I'm a servant of Allah. I'm in need of Allah. Without the favor of Allah, I wouldn't have this thing. I wouldn't have this blessing. هذا من فضل ربي. And then he said, ليبلوني. He's testing me. أأشكر أم أكفر? Whether I'm going to become thankful to Allah or I disbelieve in Allah and become disgrateful to Allah and I don't thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a test. Whom you're going to be, thankful or disgrateful. ليبلوني أشكر أم أكفر ومن شكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه. When you may become thankful, you don't increase anything in the kingdom of Allah, but you do it for yourself. And to come in the day of judgment that you did that part of thankfulness that's needed from you, that you must do. So when you do it for yourself, to get reward, to get protection, to survive and so on. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ, look, what did he say? He said, فَإِنَّ رَبِّي غَنِيٌّ كَرِيمٌ. If you disbelieve, don't think that this is going to harm Allah. Don't think that this is going to hurt Allah. Don't think that this is going to decrease the kingdom of Allah. Never. He said, Allah, فَإِنَّ رَبِّي, my Lord is ghani. He's not in need of me. He's self-sufficient. Kareem, most generous, that He gives to anyone. And He's not in need of anyone. فَإِنَّ رَبِّي غَنِيٌّ كَرِيمٌ. And that's the deep understanding from that beautiful prophet, Sulaiman alayhi salam. To be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then in the hadith, you continue, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا عِبَادِ إِنَّكُمْ تُخْطِئُونَ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ تُذْنِبُونَ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَأَنَا أَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا فَاسْتَغْفِرُونِي أَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ. O my servants, you commit sins during the day, during the night. I give you the chances. You still have life. People die around you. A day after a day, you take a person, you make janazah, you pray in janazah, you hear numbers, great numbers of people. 60 died today, were killed today in Gaza. 90 were killed today, 100 killed today. A massacre happened today in Sudan, killed today. In Lebanon killed today because of the flood, because of this, because of that. People are killed. They die every day. And you're still alive. That means that I have another chance. I have to stop the bad things. And if I do a good thing, I increase in it because I don't know if it's accepted or not. So I'm not okay. I have to increase in what I do, in the sincerity, in the truthfulness, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts. So you seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah gives the chance. And then Allah said, يَا عِبَادِ لَوْ أَنَّ أَوَّلَكُمْ وَآخِرَكُمْ. Look at Al-Ghani. Imagine Al-Ghani, the self-sufficient. Look at how he speaks. He says, لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أتقى قلب رجل واحد منكم ما زاد ذلك في ملكي شيئا. If the beginning of you, the first man of you, the first being of you, and the last one of you, they were the most pious, and all of them, they were like the most pious amongst you, this would never increase anything in my dominion. This would never increase anything in my kingship. It doesn't change anything, even if all of you are the most pious, as the most pious of you. يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أفجر قلب رجل واحد منكم ما نقص ذلك من ملكي شيئا. The beginning of you, the first of you, the last of you, were the most wicked, as the most wicked of you. This would never decrease anything from my kingdom. Allahu Akbar. Whether you believe, you disbelieve, whether you pray, you don't pray, you give zakah, you don't give zakah, this is not going to change anything in the dominion of Allah. That's all you need. To pray, you need the prayer. To give, to donate, you give the donation. You need it. You need the charity. To thank Allah, you need that. You do it for yourself. وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ لِنَفْسِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. Whoever sacrifices, whoever struggles, he struggled for himself. to get the reward for himself, to survive himself, to protect himself. Because Allah is the self-sufficient, He's not in need of anyone in the world, in the whole universe. He doesn't need anyone. You just do it for yourself. When you focus on that, I do it for myself, so why not? I should do it in the best way to get the best thing from Al-Ghani subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, يا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم جاءوا في صعيد واحد فسألوني فأعطيت كل واحد مسألته ما نقص ذلك مما عندي إلا كما ينقص المخيط إذا أدخل البحر. That if the first of you and the last of you, all of you, all the being, stood in one place and everyone asked me something and I gave everyone what he asked me, billions of people, if they ask me anything and I give everyone that thing which is completely different from the others, that would never decrease anything from my dominion, from my kingship. Just like the needle, when you put it in the sea and you take it out, it's just wet. It is just wet. It didn't take anything from the sea. The needle, when you put it in the sea and you take it out, it is just wet. This did not decrease anything from the storage of Allah, from the mercy of Allah, from the favor of Allah, from the blessings of Allah. And then he said, يا عبادي إنما هي أعمالكم أحصيها لكم ثم أوفيكم إياها فمن فعل خيرا فليحمد الله ومن فعل غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه. O my servants, it is your deeds. Look at your deed. Focus on your deed. Occupy with your deed. Have the sincerity in your deeds. Because it is your deeds that I ask you about, not the deeds of others. So you have to focus on yourself to get the best things, the best piety, the best righteousness when you come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because I will ask you about your deeds. And then I'll give you reward according to your deeds. If it's good and you find something good in hereafter, so you praise Allah for what He gives to you. And if you find something bad, something evil, so you're not going to blame anyone but you. You're going to blame yourself only because you missed it. You are praying, you're not praying, you're not focusing on the prayer, you're not focusing on dua, not focusing on making a dua, you are just focusing in the dunya, occupied with the dunya, deceived with the dunya, don't know the purpose of life and so on and so forth. We need to think about Al-Ghani. And when you ask Allah, ask Him with His name Al-Ghani. Ya Ghani, tafaddal alay. Ya Ghani, a'tini. Ya Ghani, أنعم علي يا غني فرج عني يا غني فرج عن إخواني يا غني اهدني تفضل علي اكسني من علي, and so on. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His beautiful name Al-Ghani. You call Him with His beautiful name Al-Ghani. Whatever you want, Al-Ghani is the self-sufficient subhanahu wa ta'ala who is not in need of anyone, but we are in need of Him and in need of all kinds of mercy that comes from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يرزقنا من فضله العظيم. اللهم إنا نسألك من فضلك العظيم. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى. اللهم اجعلنا هداة مهتدين. اللهم إنا نسألك باسمك الغني أن تمن علينا وأن تتفضل علينا بفضلك وكرمك وجودك يا أكرم الأكرمين ويا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك باسمك الغني أن تفرج عن إخواننا المستضعفين الجوعى العراة في فلسطين وفي لبنان وفي السودان يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنهم جياع فأطعمهم. اللهم إنهم جياع فأطعمهم. مرضى فداوهم. عراة فاكسهم. اللهم ارزقهم من فضلك العظيم. اللهم فرج عنهم الكرب يا كريم. اللهم فرج عنهم الكرب يا كريم. وعليك بأعداء الدين. اللهم عليك بهؤلاء الأعداء فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم ردنا إلى دينك مردا جميلا ننصر به الدين ونرفع به راية الحق يا رب العالمين. وتب علينا توبة ترضيك عنا. وصلى اللهم بارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والحمد لله رب العالمين.